Hello, everyone. This is Judy and today we will be interviewing Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey Judy, hi everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. I hope we can share some nice things and talk about languages and a little bit about my profile.
Yes. So happy to have you here, Sam. Can you tell us about your language journey? Which
Of
languages do you
course,
speak, and how did you get into language learning?
of course. So my name is Sam. I'm 27 years old, and for those who don't know me, and I love language learning. Of course, I started
Yeah.
learning English when I was 12 years old. Sorry about the dog. And I was 12 years old, and that's when I really started my language learning journey. Um, After that, I added Spanish a couple of years later.
Mhm.
Then I wanted more languages. I didn't stop there, so I added French, then Italian, all by myself. I didn't have
Wow.
any formal education.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, then I kept adding languages: Russian, then Serbian,
Wow.
Russian, and then Chinese. Yeah.
Did you take Spanish when you were in school, or you just learned Spanish on your own?
So, as you probably know, like public schools in Brazil are not great for language learning or for teaching
Oh,
languages.
yeah.
So I studied in a public school, and we did have some Spanish in high school, but honestly, it was not like the best. Of course, I had to learn a lot of the stuff outside the classroom. Actually, I learned much more on my own than actually at school because, you know, the um, the topics. I mean, like, I think the just the structure there is not the best. You don't speak a lot during the classes. And even though my teacher was really good and she was a polyglot, she couldn't do anything because she had to follow this plan, right? The school plan and school structure, and we couldn't speak a lot. And it was terrible, basically.
Hmm. Oh. So, but Spanish would not have been that hard for you to learn because your native language, your first language is Brazilian Portuguese, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It was a smoother process. Of course, I was consuming a lot of content. That way I could learn and just focus on the differences, right? Because I think it's a good idea when you're learning a similar language.
Yeah. And then after Spanish, you learned Italian, you said?
It was French first. I started French
Yeah.
first, and French was completely like just language acquisition,
Yeah.
doing a lot of input. Also, French is also a Romance language, so
Yeah.
um, it wasn't. I mean, well, I can't say it was easy, but I could really focus on like the input part. I could like watch and listen to a lot of French and absorb a lot and learn new vocabulary like this, and also speaking with my friends. So that's what I mostly did. A lot of YouTube videos, a lot of vocabulary. Then I had to learn some grammar on my own, just watching YouTube videos. And that's what I did. A lot of input and a little output.
Hmm. So listening to podcasts, maybe
Yeah,
video,
podcast,
yeah, videos.
French, Easy French. I don't know if you know this channel,
Yeah.
probably do, of course.
Yeah.
So like these kind of stuff, I was watching this all the time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what motivates you to learn languages?
I think really just like connecting with people.
Yeah.
I can't say I do it just for the languages itself themselves.
Yeah.
I really do think that it's about people for me. So I really want to connect people in a meaningful way, connect with
Hmm.
people in a meaningful way, and also culture, like learning about new cultures, learning new things. So it like drives me. So like when you learn a
Yeah.
new language, you get access to this new level of information. You can learn about a
Yeah.
particular country or history.
Yes. Yeah. So you started off with Romance languages and then you started learning Russian, right?
Yeah,
And
I
Russian
mixed
is
up
a
the order a little
completely
bit.
new, yeah, it's a different language. And how did you approach learning Russian? Because I once started and I gave up after several months of learning Russian.
Actually, like if I was like to be completely honest, I started Russian first, yeah, and then like I stopped after like 1 or 2 weeks, like you. Then what happened was, a couple of years later, I started learning Serbian
Yeah.
because it was during the pandemic, and I was free. I had more free time, so I started learning a new language. Why not? And I met someone. I had a friend that was learning Portuguese, and she was Serbian, and I started learning Serbian because of her, basically.
Mm.
And I just fell in love with the language. And
Wow.
then I took Russian back again. Because after getting some basis with the Slavic language, I think it's a good approach to, learn one that's like you like more or you connect with more, maybe. And
Yeah.
then you can add Russian after, because then you have like some basis. It's easier. It was definitely easier after that. Yeah.
Okay. And have you tried learning Asian languages?
Yes, I'm currently learning Chinese.
Oh,
So yeah, it's my weakest language. It's been
yeah.
like a year, but I still feel like I have a long way to go. I'm still like, I
Um,
wouldn't even call myself A2, honestly, just so you
yeah.
know. But I love Chinese and I'm trying to improve it, though I cannot read well yet. I can have some conversations, and it's great because Chinese is like, I just saw a video of a girl talking about how she just says ni hao, and then later everyone is like, yay. For with me, I feel the same way, like as a foreigner learning Chinese, if I have like to hold a basic conversation, everyone is like, oh my god, our Chinese is so good, and it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. What are the main difficulties that you're having with Mandarin?
Ah, that's a good question. I think first thing is, of course, like the characters. Like I don't know how to read. Like I know maybe some basic ones, like very, very basic ones. I don't even know if I know more than 20, just so you know. I only know a few. So I think that is for me is terrible. I'm bad at these. Like I really have to spend a long time learning them to actually I was never really good with that part. I'm more about the speaking and like, conversation part of languages. So of course that I'm better. Like, I can hold a basic conversation. But I think the most difficult part is, of course, the characters and the tones. So like
Hmm.
knowing when to use which tone. When you like, I mean, to an extent, but when you are speaking, it's really hard to remember exactly like which tone to use, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, um, it was hard for me to memorize characters, Chinese characters. So I remember struggling a lot with that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's worth it, right?
Yeah. And so what's your favorite language?
Ah, that's such a hard question. I think everyone is like, shit, what do I do now?
Mhm.
Um, Actually, my favorite language is French.
Yeah.
But French, because I like how it sounds, it's such
Yeah.
a sophisticated language. It sounds so good. It makes everything so fancy. But at
Mm.
the same time, I think that one of my favorite languages is always the one I'm like, it's the newest one. So like Chinese is also there amongst the languages I like the most. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And do you have any tips for language learners or who are interested in languages?
Yeah, for like language learning in general, how to
Yeah.
learn languages. I believe that I could say a lot of things. But since there are so many methods, and I know that a lot of methods work, a lot of different methods work, I think that the most important thing is to find a method or something that you're passionate about, right?
Mhm.
Like, for example, if you love movies, like you should invest your time in learning languages and adding movies in that equation. Like, for example, like getting your favorite movie that you've watched a billion times and trying to watch it in your target language. Like, even
Mhm.
if you're like a beginner, you can get like a little scene of the movie maybe and try to rewatch it and check it, learn new vocabulary there. So I really do think that finding either a piece of content that you love or some method that you love, like if you like watching cartoons, if you like talking to people, if you're someone that
Mhm.
prefers reading, like whatever is the thing you like to do the most, I think that should be of 80% or even 90 of your routine, because it's easier to keep it, to be consistent with something you love. So I really do
Mhm.
believe that, like, don't go trying to follow the perfect method. Try to find what you actually like and works for you, and like double down on that.
Mm. Yeah. Do you think it's important to start off with grammar?
I mean, I don't do it, but I think that it is important. I think that as long as you don't overdo it, it's a good idea. Like, for example, learning basic grammar is always good. Like if
Mm.
you're learning a language, when you learn the pronouns, for example, like, and you start conjugating in the present, something like that. I think it's always interesting.
Mm.
I think it also depends again on if the person hates grammar. I wouldn't advise them to start with grammar. Start with like listening, start learning new vocabulary, and then you add grammar, but don't wait too much. But I think that if you're okay, like grammar doesn't kill you, I think you could start. You could do a like some kind of balance. You could balance grammar and input and output. I think that
Mm.
grammar is important, and the way you learn it um, is also important, right? Like you shouldn't just get a book and like learn the grammar. I think that's bad. But if you
Mm.
like watch a video on it, like explaining something basic, I think it's a good idea. So it really depends on the person. But I think that starting with grammar, um, if you don't hate it, sure. But if like it's hate grammar, I think you should do something else and then add
Mm.
grammar later.
Yeah. And what do you do when you feel stagnant, when you feel like you're not improving?
That's a very good question. I think for me, what works is like meeting people. Like
Mm.
using the language in real life with someone in an event, like in a language event, going places and making it fun again, right? Trying to fall in love again with the language. Because if I'm stuck, like something's not working, and I kind of lost, I know like motivation is not the best word, but kind of lost that passion, right? Because in the beginning, you're not stagnant, right? And it's not that it is not anything else to learn, it's because you don't see as much progress and you start to think that like, shoot, what do I do now, right? So I think doing something different or challenging is the best way to kind of get that passion again, and to find things that you need to improve, to be very practical about it, do something immersive. So I really do think like going out and meeting people, using the language in a different way can like
Mhm.
spark that again, and you can actually move on.
Yeah. And another question is, were you able to use your languages um professionally when you were working?
Actually, yes, because I'm an English teacher. So,
Oh.
what happened? Yeah, what happens is like I have a student from Guatemala, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she lives in America. So actually, her level was very basic in the beginning. So I was using a lot of Spanish to teach her. And also like I work for a company that has a lot of French-speaking clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually use some French also at work with some of the students. So yes, I definitely like French, Spanish, and English. So I have used, yeah,
Yeah. But was it hard to learn English in Brazil?
a good question. Man, it was
Mm.
such a long time ago, but I think that
Oh.
I think for me it wasn't hard because I was a kid and I loved it. So I cannot
Mm.
say that for me it was hard, but I think in general it is. Like what happens to me, we have some other examples like me in Brazil, but it's not super common. Most people will struggle a lot because, like I said, the educational system and all things like that. Um, it's very hard to break out of that and actually try to learn a language like English, for example, without like money, without things like that. So I think it's really hard. And I think people should lean into the things they love, like I said before, like something, a piece of content or something they really like
Mm-hmm.
to try and learn by themselves. Because if they don't do that, I don't think they can succeed.
Mm. I see. And how did you find out about this polyglot community?
Good question. It was YouTube actually. Like it started with Tim Donner. You probably know him. This
Yeah.
hyper polyglot guy who started posting. Because of him, I saw the first time I saw a polyglot. I mean, I heard about the word, but I didn't know what it was, like really. And then I saw his videos. I watched his videos, like speaking in Arabic, Urdu, and all these languages. I was like, this dude's
Mm.
American. Like, this is crazy.
Mm.
And I started getting motivated by him. I saw, of course, also Richard Simcott, Luca Lampariello, all these people. They have inspired me. And then I just started an Instagram page. I started posting about languages, and that's how
Mhm.
I came. Like I started meeting people from all over the world and polyglots and language
Mm.
people who are passionate about languages. It was in, I think, 2018 or something like that.
Mm. And you also found out about HYPIA through Instagram?
Yes, yes, because I met Matthias, and yeah, friends in common actually, because we have
Mm.
a lot of friends in common.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this hypia thing? Like, would it be nice to become a hyper polyglot? And
Yes.
I actually, like, at first I was trying to study. I got approached by Matthias and I said, bro, I'm not ready for this. I really need to improve. And then, like, I think 1 year later, I was doing an interview for Helga,
Yeah.
and that video was eligible for the
Yeah.
hyper polyglot, for the high
Oh, I
international
see.
community, for
I
HYPIA.
see.
And
Yeah.
that's how it all happened.
Oh, and what are your next languages? What do you want to learn next?
Again, very difficult question and good one. Probably it's going to be. I want to go for an easy one this time, because I feel like if I add Arabic or something like that, even though I really want to learn it, I think I'm gonna go nuts. So I'm just gonna add something like Romanian or
Mm.
Catalan, probably.
Oh, Romania and
Yeah,
Catalan. Yeah, I think they're pretty similar to French, Spanish.
yeah,
So,
got a
yeah.
pretty good shot.
Yeah, it won't be that hard. And do you have any plans to go to the gathering in person or the Polyglot conference?
I really do want to go. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it this year,
Yeah.
but I really want to go in the future, like 1 or 2 years. Absolutely. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
let it go more than that. But I definitely want to
Yeah.
go and meet you and all
Yeah.
the other people. I never met Richard Simcott in real life. We have spoken before online. He's a great
Yeah.
guy and a huge
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah.
So, like, it would be amazing to meet all of you in person. One day I will
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. Um, yeah, do you have any last advice or last words for Hypia?
Yeah. Oh, I want to say, you guys are doing an amazing job. Like, I love how organized you guys are, and all the amazing work you're doing. And it's a voluntary work, which is like amazing. So, like, what you guys doing is like, you guys are heroes, really, because you're changing the world through language learning. Really, you
Oh,
are.
thank
And
you.
I believe that I feel very privileged to be part of this community, and everyone is really amazing, really cool. And congratulations. Just want to say, keep doing that. I'll try to also promote it and do my best to be a good representative of this amazing community. I'll keep learning languages and trying to motivate people to learn languages. So thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing,
Oh,
guys.
thank you. Okay, so thank you for this interview and talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Bye.